Alright guys, it's only been a few days, but we have got plenty more completed deals and transfer rumours to digest in today's video. As always, if you do go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and do get all your thoughts on your club's recent transfer activity in the comments down below. And there's only really one place to start out, and that's that Blackpool have gone ahead and appointed Michael Appleton as their new manager. Blackpool fans, I want to get your thoughts on this one in the comments down below, because the reaction I've seen on social media has been fairly mixed for this one. Obviously, Michael Appleton was previously at Blackpool back in 2012. He ultimately left them after just 12 games to go to Blackburn Rovers. In terms of the manager he was then and now, I don't really feel like you can draw many comparisons to back then. You know, he's managed over 300 games since he was last at Blackpool, but because of how things ended last time with Appleton there, he does need to do a little bit of winning round of the fan base. I think that's fair to say, and coming in after Critchley especially was going to be a tough act for anyone to follow. We obviously had the story about Liam Rossini coming out the other day as well. For the past few days it seemed like he was the front runner. That didn't materialise in the end, and so instead they've gone for Appleton. We also had Duff in the conversation at one point as well. I'm a little bit conflicted on this one really, and whether I think it will work out for Blackpool. We have already had a few discussions over Blackpool in terms of, you know, some of the reasons potentially why Critchley wanted to move on, maybe why they weren't able to land some of their other managerial targets in terms of the squad and budgets and things like that. But Appleton's an interesting one. He did a really good job at Oxford, obviously got Lincoln to within one game of the Championship, ultimately losing out to Blackpool, but last season didn't exactly go to plan. Lincoln finished 17th in League One in the end. It was a mutual departure between himself and the club, and such is the life of football managers really. You know, had he left Lincoln off the back of that playoff final, his stock would have been incredibly high at that point. Instead, he stuck around for another season. It didn't materialise as he would have hoped, and ultimately his stock, you know, has dropped off quite considerably. So from that point of view, Appleton does have a point to prove here, stepping up a division. You know, it's the first time he's managed in the Championship since 2013. I do think there's quite a lot of work to be done at Blackpool heading into next season now. So yeah, a little bit conflicted on this one, but interested to hear Blackpool fans' thoughts. Without any further ado though, let's first of all hop into the completed deals. And we'll start out with some Cardiff City news, even more new additions coming through the door this week. First of all, they've completed the deal for Derby goalkeeper Ryan Allsop. He'll join on a free transfer after his contract at Derby had run out. Allsop, I think, is a quite steady Championship goalkeeper. I think that's what you're basically getting in Allsop. I think he probably got better as the year went on for Derby. Obviously, previously of Wickham, got a bit of Championship football under his belt that season as well. Yeah, a steady addition. Steve Morison has also used his Millwall connections to get a deal done for right back Marlon Romeo over the line as well. Just seemed to fall out of favour towards the end at Millwall. Obviously, last season spent it out on loan at Portsmouth, but once again, in a similar vein to Allsop, a steady player in the Championship. And Vontae Daly-Campbell has also joined up with Steve Morison at Cardiff, gives them another option on that right-hand side of their defence. Not played all too much football, he's 22 years old now, had a move over to Leicester where he just made a couple of appearances, spent last season out on loan at Dundee, so excited to see how he develops. Aidan Flynn completed his move over to Stoke. This one was a move that we all saw as being on the cards. We spoke about it in a little bit more detail in the rumours part of last time's video, but that one has since gone through. Bristol City also landed a deal for Kane Wilson. We also spoke about this one in a little bit more detail in a couple of videos ago on the transfer rumour roundup as well, but some really good business by Bristol City so far. And we saw Swansea complete a deal for Middlesbrough defender Nathan Wood. Didn't really have all too much of a look in from his time at Borough, so I'm excited to see what Russell Martin's seen in him. But guys, those are some of the recently completed deals to go through in the Championship over the last few days. Now, without any further ado, let's hop into some rumours. So we'll start out with the big transfer story going around the Championship at the moment, and that's that Hull are confident of landing a deal for MK Dons Scott Twine. Now, I'm sure there'll be plenty more to come out from this story. Obviously, I'll record these videos in advance, and big news stories like this continue to develop over the hours, but what a deal this would be potentially for Hull if they do manage to pull it off. We've spoken about Hull in quite some detail on these videos so far in terms of the other European targets that they're currently chasing, but domestically, after a player like Scott Twine, this will really bump them up in my estimations for next season if they manage to land this deal. I had it in my head that it was probably most likely that one of the 3 clubs coming down from the Premier League this season would go ahead and land Scott Twine, coming off the season he's just had at MK Dons. 20 goals, 13 assists, brilliantly agile, creative, brilliant from dead ball situations as well. But him and Lewis Potter in the same team, my God, that would be some combination for Hull next season. Reportedly, if any deal was to be done for Twine, that wouldn't affect Keane Lewis Potter's future in terms of Twine being his replacement. They want both at the club for next season, and reportedly so, they put a bid in for around about £3 million, with add-ons taking that up to around about that £4 million mark. I'm sure there'll be plenty of other Championship clubs interested, and with Hull putting in that first bid, maybe that will go ahead and activate some other clubs to go ahead and join the race for him. But yeah, if Hull do pull this one off, I'll be seriously impressed, because that is that's ambition. It looks as if Stoke have secured the deal for Reading midfielder Josh Laurent, with his contract running out at Reading at the end of the season. This one's an absolute steal, I think, with Stoke, and I think that him next to Lewis Baker in the midfield, I think is really quite an exciting combination. I think that Josh Laurent has been the type of player that Stoke have really quite lacked, actually, over these last few years in the Championship. Really good ball winner, has a goal in him going forward as well. I think that his partnership with Rumours at times maybe even went a little bit under the radar with that Reading side, because we often gave the plaudits to their attacking stars in that team. But Josh Laurent, I really quite like him. I think that's a massive blow that he'll be leaving Reading at the end of the season. It looks as if QPR have won the race for Jake Clark-Salter. There were plenty of other Championship clubs interested. I think I heard the names Blackburn, Sheffield United. I'm sure Coventry would have been more than keen to get him back after how well he did there out on loan last season. But by all accounts, as of recording, it seems like QPR have won the race for the defender, and good start, I must say. Promising start to their recruitment. Big fan of Clark-Salter. Yeah, I thought he did a good job at Cov last season. Ronan Curtis will be free to leave Portsmouth this summer, with the club willing to accept around about 500 grand for him, reportedly. At the moment, it does seem like Scottish club Hibernian are in the driving seat for his signature, as Lee Johnson is looking to get this deal over the line. But in previous windows gone by, we have seen several Championship clubs linked to him in the past, the likes of Cardiff City, Blackburn Rovers, my side Preston North End as well. I think he'd be a welcomed addition to the Championship, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if he was to end up in the Scottish League as well. 8 goals, 9 assists this season, 10 goals, 7 assists the season before that. Always delivers with the numbers, and 26 now, only a year left on his contract. You've got the ability to get him for a decent price. All things seem to point towards Freddie Woodman signing on for Preston North End, although Birmingham have reportedly come in with some late interest for the Newcastle goalkeeper. He's only got 12 months on his deal there at Newcastle. It seems like we're sort of negotiating for a loan deal, with that then to be turned into a permanent when his contract does run out. By all accounts at the moment, it seems like he's got a medical penciled in at Preston for Monday of next week, but we'll see if Birmingham can cause any late stirs in this transfer. Swansea's Joel Latiboudier is being linked with a move to Burnley. Obviously, the Manchester City connection potentially coming in here with Vincent Kompany, who was previously at Man City before making that move over to Swansea. We did get to see a little bit more of the 22-year-old at Swansea last season. Started 21 matches for them. Fairly versatile, was used in a few different positions under Russ Martin, both in a back three and used as a wing back at times as well. It's obviously a position that Burnley need to add depth into. West Brom are willing to listen to offers for quite a few of their players this summer, but the one that really caught my eye was Callum Robinson. I'm sure there'll be plenty of clubs around the Championship who would be interested in doing a deal for Robinson. I mean, myself as a Preston fan, I'd love nothing more for us to get him back to Deepdale, but I can't see that happening really with the way we like to do things on a budget. I get that in the second half of last season, his form massively did drop off, but in a West Brom side that was as dysfunctional as they were last season, he still scored 7 goals and produced 9 assists. You know, he was West Brom's most creative player last season and their second top scorer. 27 years old as well, in the right system as an inside forward. I think Robinson could still be a top player in the Championship, I really do. It seems as if Djed Spence's transfer to Spurs is edging closer. As of recording, Spurs are said to be confident of getting this deal over the line, and I think that once this deal does go through, it will then set off a little bit of a domino effect for the rest of the championship, really, because Middlesbrough will then have somebody to go ahead and play with. And as you've seen over the recent weeks that we've been covering these championship transfers, Middlesbrough have been linked to every player under the sun, but obviously they need the funds to come in first to go ahead and fund those moves. But by all accounts, it is looking like Djed Spence will be a Tottenham player next season. As Troy Parrott's next stage of his development, Spurs are reportedly willing to let him go out on another loan move, this time to a championship club, and we've already seen plenty of interest in the Spurs striker. Luton, QPR, Reading, Birmingham, Preston and a whole host of other championship clubs have been mentioned with the youngster. We did previously see him have a brief spell in the championship with Millwall, but that loan spell didn't exactly go to plan. I think he was injured to start off with, then got himself back in the squad, then another injury, and ultimately he only played 600 or so championship minutes, so we can't really make much of an assessment on him from that loan spell. Last season though, at MK Dons in League One, made a good name for himself, got 9 goals, 6 assists, played pretty much everywhere across their forward line as well, so showed his versatility, and at 20 years old now, he'll be looking to take his game to that next level in the championship, and as we've seen there, he certainly won't be short of offers. This one will be quite the blow to Blackpool, but Keshi Anderson is now being linked with a move away to Huddersfield Town. Now, from Huddersfield's perspective, I think this one will make sense, really. Quite like the look of Anderson last season, if I'm being honest. 4 goals, 4 assists. He was one of Blackpool's most creative players, averaging 1.7 key passes per 90. Fairly versatile as well. I think his best performances for Blackpool probably did come off that left-hand side, where he was able to sort of drift into those central positions on his right foot, but also played a little bit of football down the middle as well, both as a number 10 and as a number 9 on a few occasions. From Blackpool's perspective, I think he's only got 12 months left in his contract as well, so they're in a bit of a tricky scenario here with both Anderson and Bowler's contracts running down and several clubs circling them at the moment. But guys, there we have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. As always, if you're going to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and do get all your thoughts on the recent speculation in the comments down below. Interested to hear what you guys have to say about all the rumours going on at the moment, but as always, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.